Adam Dodd has made his mark on the AM Champs this year, and he says it's been a long time coming.
It's the car we're racing at the moment. It's a Mazda 6 MPS. It's a car we've had for about 9 years now, so it's getting a little bit old. So we're looking to the future, and as you'll find out, we've got a plan in place. The pluses with this car is that it's all-wheel drive. The minus, unfortunately, it's a very heavy car compared to our competitors in the Evolution Lancers and that sort of thing. But she's a very sturdy beast and continually pumps out the numbers every race.
When it comes to 2014, this team is thinking outside the window when it comes to their vehicle choice.
We're actually going away from the current Mazda 6 MPS. We'll retire it towards the end of this year, and we're actually looking to debut our new Mazda 6 Diesel, which is the brand new Mazda 6 that's just been released. We're building 2 cars at the moment. I've got one here this weekend, which we featured yesterday for a drive, and I've got a new one that's a wagon that's being built at the moment as well, both diesel automatics. We decided to go with the wagon for something a little bit different. We wanted to relive the glory days of the old Volvo 850 race wagons and the touring cars and that sort of thing, and we just wanted to build something a bit of a point of difference from all the other cars on the circuit.
Adam says going diesel will give the team an advantage on track next year.
I really believe the Sky Active diesels are a very good car. We did some calculations on our test run yesterday, and the mileage that we can get out of the car would mean on a long race, like a 6-hour race, we'd only need to stop once for fuel. Both the Mazda 6 diesels are front-wheel drive turbo diesel. They run a 6-speed double-clutch automatic gearbox, traction controls, dynamic stability control, so you have that ability in the wet weather to turn on the safety systems to make the car a little bit easier to drive. Cars we're obviously getting the weight out. We're also putting the roll cages in just to make them nice and safe, but we're not going to be modifying the car very much from standard. I'd like to think that we would match it with the guys in C-Class, which is what we're currently running in at the moment, and our goal is to be able to get the cars up to a speed where we're running with those guys. As I said, with the fuel consumption side of things, we'll have an advantage on the other competitors, and I also want to really promote having diesel technology as the future of motor racing in Australia.
Well, it's time for the second race of the weekend. The cars are coming out onto the track, a variety of different makes, different performance characteristics from these machines, and we have got a race with Glenn Seaton taking a victory yesterday in the King Springs cars. He will start from pole with Holton McLeod alongside, then Grant Sherrin and Jake Camilleri in the Grand Prix Mazda.
It's a great field, and gee, it's been an exciting weekend so far. One race done in the night. The fight in the night on Saturday evening was run under lights here at Queensland Raceway, and it was a remarkable race. We'll tell you more about that as this one gets underway, but first and second, they're on the front row of the grid. Great start from the Eastern Creek Karts car, launches off the line, and Seaton, though, the second phase of the start, even better, and he'll lead into turn 1. Glenn Seaton was magnificent on Saturday night, as always, but it was a fantastic battle. It went right down to the wire. The lead changed twice in the final 10 laps, Bordeaux. A great show between the two Evos, and they look to go at it again in today's second lead.
Well, that was impressive by Seaton because he was beaten by a good margin off the line by the Eastern Creek Karts car, but was able to fight back and take the lead into turn 1, which tells you that that car's not only got a great deal of horsepower, but putting the power down, which is the key to this sort of motorsport. It was very impressive in doing so as we go on board with Barry Clinton, another Queenslander in the Alpha Financial machine, and he pushes up and takes a spot away from the Donut King car.
Yeah, and this is the track where the BMW made its debut last year, and it's been very close to the Evos this weekend. Now, post the most recent round of the series at Sydney Motorsport Park, plenty of rumbling going on about that very controversial finish. The CXC Global car was in pit lane, the flag came out, or did it? They were denied a victory they thought they should have had. That's all still rumbling on. The BMWs, meanwhile, had some issues with their intercooler as Berwick backs out of a pass on Jake Camilleri's car. The BMWs had an intercooler eligibility issue and were racing under a cloud at that round as well. So there's been all kinds of stuff going on behind the scenes. It's just nice to get back on the racetrack and have some proper motor racing, and it's been as good as always, the AM Champs this weekend.
And that's the great thing about Australian Manufacturers Championship, because there are so many different types of cars. The rules are open to interpretation. It just depends on how your chief engineer and your tacticians interpret those rules, and it brings up a whole different gamut into the sport. And I personally love it, even though some people say it puts a cloud over it. I don't agree. It's all part of the fun of what we're doing.
It is, absolutely. Great fourth place in race 1, incidentally, for Jake Camilleri in the Grand Prix Mazda 3 MPS. Fantastic performance. This team really punching above their weight, as they always do, but getting up a bit of ground to Berwick Linton, and boom!
No.
Massive explosion. That's got to be a turbo failure in a big way, and the run down to turn 4, well, you talk them up, and it's not paid off for them. That's day over for Grand Prix Mazda, and Camilleri pulls off, the local boy, after a great run last night, and that's day done.
Big shame for him. Geez, had a torrid season. I dare say during Christmas he'll be heading off to the Himalayas to try and rebalance his karma, because my goodness, a guy that is deserving of such success in this sport continues to have these niggling problems. It's been a character-building year, as they say in the classics.
Wow, that was remarkable. So a massive explosion only can be a turbo failure. That kind of big plume of white smoke. These highly strung cars, they work them very hard, but the Grand Prix Mazda team over the last 2 years, even 2.5, have been amongst the most reliable cars in the paddock, and understandably a safety car on the racetrack.
So that's brought everyone to a slow pace, and we'll bunch up the field. Here's the replay. It just let go under acceleration, potentially on a change of gear, and it filled it with that telltale white smoke, which tells you we've got an X-turbo in the car.
Yeah, a very X-turbo that has blown up in a big way. And good presence of mind for Jake. He got off the racing line, got to the grass very quickly, so there shouldn't be too much fluid down on the road. And that car out of the way. In the meantime, cars in pit lane. Now, this is the second, I think, car from Pro Duck Racing. Car number 30, no, Glenn Seaton, so it is Cito. So he's in the garage. So leading early, won last night, and he pulls into pit lane. And Bob Pearson, team owner, watching on, electing not to drive this weekend, just with the team manager's hat on. And dramas for Glenn Seaton, the early race leader, now in pit lane.
Well, I suppose, if you can see Jake Camilleri go off that way, to find Glenn Seaton had bowed out under the similar sort of circumstances, no surprise. This is going to be just one of these race weekends, I think, here at Queensland, where you can expect the unexpected. And speaking of which, really good run by the Sharon car as well. Look at where it's positioned out there on the track. They're doing a fantastic job this weekend. Yeah, Grant
Sharon driving very, very well, as he has with his brother Ian all season long, but these slightly shorter races, some guys electing not to run the two-driver format. Interesting to note, in the VXR Astra, the car owned by Ryan McLeod, driving that, one of the two drivers this weekend, Peter Faulkner. Surname sound familiar? Yep, son of John. So the well-known V8 supercar privateer, a winner on the Thunderdome in NASCAR and OzCar, and second-generation driver, making his national level debut this weekend in the HSV Astra. Make you feel old?
Well, that's what I was just about to say. It may make you sound intelligent, but for the rest of us, we're thinking, oh no, the second tier are coming along. My goodness, we're getting old. But that is motorsport. You know, when you've got young people that go out to a racetrack, it gets in your blood, and you just can't get rid of it. Just like Dad, son's out doing same.
Berwick Linton gets passed into turn 6 and should repass Sharon down into turn 1. So a great battle of the BMWs, and up the road is the Holton McLeod Evo. So they assumed the race lead, finished second last night, put all kinds of pressure on Glenn Seaton, did Ryan McLeod, in the closing stages of that race. And the night races here have been unbelievable both times around.
And how big is this alpha male battle? Two cars, very, very similar. It just comes down to driver, and there's nothing between the two at the moment. And they are giving it their all. This is all about pride, punters, all about pride. And Grant Sharon looks up the inside of Berwick Linton. They're going to go side by side on the exit of turn 3. Linton's going to have the inside line, but has he got enough pace to hold out Grant Sharon, who's going to try for the long way around? Gets down to the braking marker. Grant Sharon gets on the brakes early. You can see he's going to think about a switchback, but it's not going to come off. Linton's going to be awake to that and protect the line.
Class B car fighting with a Class A car, but they're actually reasonably similar, the 1M and the 135i. Different engines under the bonnet, but aside from that, there's not a massive amount of difference. And gee, the Sharon's car, that thing is hooked up. It drives well, but Berwick going very nicely. He's had Tim Lay in the car for the opening couple of rounds of the championship as a co-driver, and they've made some grounds with this car. They're slowly chipping away and getting the BMWs even closer to the dominant Mitsubishis.
And that's why these dual driver combinations are so valuable to the Australian Manufacturers Championship, because they do get drivers with phenomenal experience stepping up with a great deal of production car experience. The battles, the cars are able to improve. Look at this for a battle, 3 wide down into turn 1.
And down the inside, Benton and Russell sharing the Big Falcon, and they've made a couple of places. In fact, they've got 2, 8 to 6 they go. So past the GWS personnel BMW and past that VXR Astra we were talking about before. So the Gore boys, Scotty and Michael, running in the 130i BMW, and then the HSV Astra, Faulkner and Hoare teaming up in that car. So 2 places though, that's a pretty good run for Matty Benton and Jeff Russell in the FPV GT Ford.
You get the feeling this battle's not over by any stretch of the imagination. Look how close they are situated out on the track, and once again the 46 flicks to the inside and may have the run down into this turn. Yeah, very clean overtaking manoeuvre, but not to be done with. The GWS car sticking with this battle.
This is a good fight, isn't it interesting? The rear-wheel drive BMW, the 130i with a normally aspirated engine running well, the turbo Astra front-wheel drive in front, and they're almost identically well matched. And I spoke to the Gore boys earlier this year, and they just enthused about how much they love racing in this category and mixing it up with all the other cars around them. Up the inside, good pass, gets it done.
I'm coming through, step aside.
It's about the 3rd pass in 3 laps, but that's good stuff. Gets it done. So this is a really good fight. So class honours right up and down the AmChamps field. Of course, remember, everyone running on the Hankook tyre now. New control tyre for the AmChamps. It comes in a variety of sizes to suit the smaller baby car classes and the 4-wheel drive turbos. Let's go down to Product Racing. Let's hear what's going on with car 30.
We have just witnessed a nightmare repair from you, but an incredible effort. Talk us through what happened in the car.
Glenn radioed in with a boost, loss of boost. So we got him in, and it looks like he's lost the actuator, which controls the boost. So it's pretty hot in there, but we've got the job done and got him back out there, and we'll see how we go.
So he's got no boost, he's 7 laps down, so what he's saying is he can still win.
And drive as hard as you like, Glenn. The pit stops are happening here at Queensland Raceway. We're going to take a break from the Australian Manufacturers Championship. The conclusion of race 2 from Queensland when we come back.
Well, as we speak, the 20 car of Holt and McLeod comes into pit lane to effect their pit stop. The Eastern Creek car pulls up on its marks, and it's driver change time here for them. And something they try and do with a great deal of pace, because the cars are continuing to circulate. McLeod getting in, trying to strap himself in at the moment. The slowest, most tedious part of a pit stop, but one that's the most frantic, Richard.
Yeah, great opening stint by Holty, wasn't it? Really got that car in a very, very good position. Slides the seat forward and gets themselves in a good position to go racing. Fueling everyone over the line, and away they go. So they came in from the lead, they'll rejoin in 5th, but these pit stops just working their way through, and it's a fuel economy battle too in the AmChamps. The BMWs tend to run a little bit longer than the 4-wheel drive turbo Evos.
Sharon team are down in the pits, and it looks like they've got a bit of a fuel leak going on there. Frantic work at the back of the car to try and get that repaired and get it back out there. You can't go out with leaking fuel.
And remember, they were second on the road before the stop as well. Let's go back down to pit lane. Here's Gary Holt.
Well, we had a good start with Glenn, and unfortunately Glenn had a little bit of problem after 2 laps, and we took the lead and held on to the lead. We had a safety car. It didn't work to our favour because we had a nice gap, and it allowed Berwick to catch up, and Berwick's pretty quick out there. And now Ryan's in the car. We had a very good pit stop, and so we'll just keep our...
And just quickly, his tactics, Ryan's?
Well, Ryan will just do what he has to do. If all depends on when Berwick comes back out after the pit stop. If we're in front of him and how far we're in front, then we'll just hopefully just take it easy.
Yeah, the day I see Gary Holt take it easy.
He's pretty full on in everything he does, be it competitive fishing, boat building, car racing, go-kart circuit operating.
Let's go through them. Start off with skiing originally, then go to yachting, then go to fishing, then go to car racing, then go to being a corporate entity.
Successful at them all too. So pit stop now for Donut King Racing. third place beforehand. They'll rejoin somewhere around P5, but that's a good stop.
And this is a very good result. If they can finish in third, they will be elated with that.
Yeah, so that will put them up the order. Here's Mark Eddy and Francois Joy completing their pit stop. And now this is for track position between Beric Linton and Ryan McLeod. Linton will peel off into pit lane. McLeod will fire through in the Evo, and that will get him back up towards the front of the field in corrected race order once all these pit stops are finished here at QR. So it's been a good opening stint for Beric and the Alfera Financial Services Bruce Linton BMW 1M. And this car continuing to get better and better.
And deservedly so. Beric Linton and the team are a hard-working group of people that do a fantastic job. He's done an amazing performance out there in this first stint. The fuel going in the car. He'll stay in the car and continue on for the rest of this race. Now they've topped it up. A lockdown of the boot. Change of the tyres taking place. Beric sitting there and thinking, come on guys, go faster, faster, faster. But unfortunately, it's going to take as long as it takes.
Very professional outfit this too. Great uniform, very well presented, all the gears meticulous. And you can see there the guy on the right rear, lug nuts came off, wheel came off, on the ground, back on. So you have to remove a wheel. You don't have to replace it with a new one. So you can take the existing one on there off and then put it straight back on again if you need to. So Linton rejoins, he's back on the road. That puts the Evo back in front. Beric will be second. So Mitsubishi first, BMW second. That's the way it's been so far in the AM Champs this season, but you get the feeling the BMWs aren't that far away from cracking it for a victory.
Tell you what, Beric had an absolute handful of car through that second turn there. Whether the tyres just cooled down to the point where they were so far off the pace it wasn't funny, but he was working darn hard.
Great to see Robinson Racing back. The Ford FPV team are back. They've lost a couple of spots in that pit stop sequence. Edwards and Gray behind the wheel at the Truck Phones sponsored FPV GT, one of several cars that Ted Robinson's team owns, and they're working on getting more of them out as the season goes on. Great to have Jeremy Gray back in the AM Champs as well. He's been around the series for some time and races a similar car, except with 2 less doors in the V8 Ute Racing Series.
Well, the sun's starting to set here at Queensland Raceway and pointing right into the driver's eyes, which is giving them something else to think about. Fortunately, it doesn't take long before the trees do block it out, but we're counting down to the final couple of laps of this race, and it's still on in earnest. These battles, here comes Seaton back out there trying to regain positions and hopefully get himself back on the lead lap. It's a tough ask, but not unachievable.
Yeah, and Glenn has been absolutely flying. So we heard a turbo actuator issue early in that race from the chief mechanic down there at Product Motorsport. But that car is flying now, and Cito has smashed his own lap record from last night and dropped into the 118s at Queensland Raceway. So this is like an exclamation point, Grant. He's showing how fast his car can be had it not been for the issues early on in the race. So
look how good it can stop. Did you see those brake discs glowing there? It was like a Christmas tree.
We had a lot of that last night. The fight in the night. The AM Champs putting on a great show under lights here at Queensland Raceway, and a heap of people stayed back to watch it. It was a great show. Here's our race leader, Ryan McLeod. What a performance this has been from Team Eastern Creek Karts. As they start the final lap, the team on pit wall watching on. Holty will be a bit nervous. The team watching on, but McLeod's one of the best in the business to bring it home.
Well, he's only got one more tour of this track to affect that first place victory, and there are cars up ahead that he's going to have to negotiate. So whether he backs off or whether he keeps going at the pace that he is at the moment, that's up to him to decide. But he knows that he's got a pit wall full of crew and another driver and team owner that are urging him on.
He's making it look easy. Look how relaxed McLeod is, just from 5th to 3rd in the braking zone down there at turn 3. Smooth on the throttle, out. He's not rushing anything. It's all under control. He'll drive past the Falcon, no problem. Saw him coming. Lights ablaze on the front of the Evo 10. So this will get them onto the podium at the top step. It's been a great weekend for Team Eastern Creek Karts. A hard-fought second place last night, and they had a proper sniff at victory too. They led within the last 10 laps, but were repassed by Glenn Seaton. But this will be a victory. McLeod will bring it home. Holty's opening stint was excellent. It's been a complete performance by Team Eastern Creek Karts.
And this is vital for the championship, for the Evo that comes up onto the start-finish line. Ryan McLeod piloting the car across the line, cheered on by that man, his co-driver Gary Holt. They take victory in the final race here at Queensland Raceway this weekend. The Eastern Creeks Karts Mitsubishi car has taken the win, and what a great result for second. Berwick Linton, a Queenslander, lives down there on the Gold Coast. Linton BMW, he's driving the market that has made the family name famous, and he will come across the line and take a very, very hard-fought second.
Yeah, second on the road at least, given the dramas in Sydney, but second on the road 2 rounds in a row now, so that's a great performance by Berwick Linton. And we're waiting for Tony Alford in the Donut King car, a brand new car. They'll finish 3rd. That's their best result so far for that brand new car. Benton and Russell home in 4th in the Ford, and Scotty and Michael Gore 5th outright and class winners in the little BMW.
Winners are grinners, and you know, the product car's fast. If they can ever get it to finish the race, they'll go all right. But you know, we're there.
This guy I have as a co-driver decided to tell us that we had he had a flat tyre 5 laps to go, and we got all the tyres out, pit crew ready to go, and I was spewing, and then he said, well, I have to give you something to think about. So I'll pay him back that one.
Oh, it's all smiles at Team Eastern Creek Karts, and so they should. Gary Holt and Ryan McLeod at the top of the charts in Class A. Michael Benton and Jeff Russell, the co-drivers in the Ford lead Class B. In the Class C fight, it's Mark Bell on top, Adam Dodd second. They're equal on points, though, at the top of that championship battle. And rounding out the order, Mark Eddy leads his teammate Francois Joy in the battle for Class D. Thanks to Hankook, that's it for the Australian Manufacturers Championship and the Shannon's Nationals here at Queensland Raceway. Head to thenationals.com.au for more information.